Love it or hate it, general medicine is an integral part of your medical internship. In this video, I'll go through 3 things that everyone seems to hate about general medical rotation and how you can make them better. Coming right up. Before we launch into this video, if you enjoy these videos on all things medical, feel free to like and subscribe. It really helps me keep motivated so that I can produce more of these videos to help guide you through your medical career. Now with all that out of the way, let's get started. The first thing that everybody hates about general medical rotation is the long ward rounds. And there's really no getting around this. Medical ward rounds just tend to be really long. I remember some ward rounds routinely taking 6 hours or more. Now this may be because general medical registrars tend to be thorough and sometimes a bit too thorough, and they also tend to be quite junior in their training. They're starting at about PGY 3, so there's 3 years out of medical school. And really it's the nature of general medicine to be thorough and to manage a whole host of problems and issues faced by patients. In that regard, it is worthwhile being thorough and to take a long time during your ward rounds if you're a general medical registrar. So what are my suggestions for dealing with these long ward rounds? The first thing is to divide and conquer. Now once you get some momentum going in your term, offer to your registrar to divide the ward round and to see whether you can see patients independently. I strongly suggest that you do this in the second half of your year. Establishing independence can really get you engaged with your patients and to think about issues in different ways. Doing this will also help you get that consultant reference for your next year and for your training rotation. My suggestion number 2 is to frequently get the small tasks cleared. Now to most people, it would make more sense to complete the ward round first and then to tackle the tasks afterwards. And certainly that's what makes more sense in my mind also. But because the ward rounds can be so long, especially if you have a consultant ward round in the same afternoon, it is worthwhile getting some of your smaller tasks completed during the ward round. I suggest that you get the referral pages and special investigation requests sent in early. As a rule of thumb, if a task involves someone else to be available to complete that task, get the request in early so you can be first come and first served. Now, thing number 2 is the exposure to such wide variety of medical practices. Depending on the structure of your medical units, you may be exposed to many different registrars and consultants during your term. Some may be exceptionally good, some might be exceptionally bad, others rather average. You will work with some registrars who are just A+ in their knowledge base, but a straight up F in their bedside manners. With such little consistency in the practices that you will encounter, it becomes difficult to adopt a good, solid, consistent practice behavior. My suggestion to deal with this is to observe and analyze how these different practices affect the patients and their family, nursing staff, and more importantly, you. You'll be surprised at how the different behaviors are subconscious and the effects of these can go unnoticed completely by the person who's doing them. For example, I had a registrar who had terrific knowledge in general medicine and she was extremely thorough. So in that regard, she was highly favorable as far as the biological aspect of medicine goes. However, her patient interaction and mannerisms were quite lacking. In fact, it was lacking to an extent that patients have secretly come to tell me that they had trouble trusting her. Now remember that you will soon be an independently practicing doctor yourself, and you may have interns and you'll certainly have patients and families who will be looking to you for trust and your expertise. Keeping that in mind, it's certainly a good idea to be aware of the good and the bad practices and how they impact the families and the patients. Thing number 3 is a minimal consultant exposure. As a general medical intern, consultant exposure is certainly very hard to come by. And that is especially true if your consultant only does once or twice a week of paper ward rounds. That limits the amount of contact hours to 1 at most 2 hours per week. Now, compare this to the surgical intern and their consultant exposure. A surgical intern may be scrubbed in with a consultant for an entire list, and that's anywhere between 4 and 8 hours of solid consultant contact. And that period of time during which you collaborate and exchange information and ideas between the two is a must for your reference for your future employment as well as your training opportunities. So my suggestion for dealing with this issue is to really take ownership of your patients. In addition to making your ward round much more rapid and smooth and efficient, the divide and conquer approach will showcase to your consultant how engaged you are with your patient management, as well as how much ownership you have and responsibility you take for managing your patient. Now, just make sure that you know all the pertinent issues, the investigation results that go hand in hand with those, as well as a bit of a strategy or a management plan to address those issues. To do that, think about what must be accomplished in order for the patient to be safely discharged from hospital. Now, this same approach can also apply if you have regular clinic attendance as well. Now, by doing this, you'll surely show off your ability to independently and competently and responsibly treat your patients and manage your patients as the capable doctors that you are. Now, that's it for today, guys. What do you think of your medical rotation? Do you love it or hate it? Do you have something to rant about? Share your thoughts in the comment section down below. I'd love to hear your story. In the meantime, I've been Raf from RP Med, and I'll see you in the next one.